Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide. Think of me as your friendly English teacher, and consider this your dynamic vocabulary masterclass. Today, we're dissecting a word that is just incredibly fun to say, but also wonderfully useful to know. It's a word that perfectly captures the chaos, the confusion, and, well, the absolute absurdity of the modern world. We are looking at the anatomy of bonkers. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda for today. 1. What does bonkers mean? 2. Pronouncing it perfectly. 3. Bonkers in everyday life. 4. Shades of crazy, synonyms. And 5. Idioms and expressions. All right, section 1. What does bonkers mean? Let's explore the core definition of our word. So bonkers. It's an informal adjective, and we use it to describe someone or something that is crazy, mad, or just extremely foolish. It is such a highly versatile word. Depending entirely on your context, it can imply that a person has temporarily lost their reason. Maybe they're acting wildly in the heat of the moment. Or it can be used to describe an idea or situation that is utterly bizarre and illogical. Now keep in mind, it's not a formal medical term. Not at all. It's a conversational tool for expressing disbelief or just observing sheer absurdity. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how you might use it in an academic or a professional setting. Take a listen. The idea that we could finish the entire curriculum in 2 days is absolutely bonkers. Notice how the word instantly injects this sense of total incredulity into the sentence. The speaker isn't just saying the idea is bad or kind of difficult. They're saying it's completely detached from reality. It's illogical. It is, quite simply, bonkers. Moving on to section 2, pronouncing it perfectly, the mechanics of sounding natural. Let's talk phonetics, because sounding natural is key to conversational confidence. In British English, specifically received pronunciation, it's typically pronounced with a slightly more rounded, shorter O sound and a softer ending. But in American English, the vowel opens up a bit more, and you'll often hear a much more pronounced R towards the end. Now, both are completely correct, but actively enunciating and just being aware of these subtle regional differences really helps tune your ear. Let's break this down syllable by syllable so you can really feel the mechanics of the word. That first syllable, it carries the primary stress. Whether you're using the British or the American pronunciation, this is exactly where you put your vocal energy. You want to heavily emphasize this first part, bunkers. Do you hear that dynamic vocal shift? You are hitting that first part hard. Then we just glide right into the second syllable. This part is completely unstressed and short. And this is important. It ends with a soft Z sound because of that S at the end. So it's not a sharp, hissy S, it's a gentle Z sound. Put it together with that stressed first syllable, and you get the unique phonetic conclusion that makes the word so satisfying to say. Bonkers. Section 3. Bonkers in everyday life. Let's put the word into practice. Let's shift gears and see how this actually builds into everyday conversation. The traffic on the highway this morning was absolutely bonkers. This is incredibly useful. We've all been there, right? Sitting in endless gridlock. Using bonkers here perfectly describes a common, frustrating daily situation that just defies logic. It elevates your complaint from just saying bad traffic to describing a chaotic event. Here is our second everyday sentence. It's bonkers that she expects us to finish the entire project by tomorrow. See how this mirrors our earlier curriculum example? This demonstrates exactly how to use the word when you're reacting to an illogical or a totally unreasonable expectation. It conveys your stress, sure, but it does so with a wonderfully informal conversational flair. And our final everyday example. My dog goes absolutely bonkers whenever the mail carrier drops off a package. I absolutely love this one because it shows a completely different flavor of the word. Here, it perfectly captures energetic, uncontrollable, or wild behavior. It's not necessarily negative at all, it's just pure, unadulterated energy. Welcome to the advanced class. Section 4. Shades of crazy. Synonyms. Expanding your vocabulary web. Now, what's really interesting here is the incredible spectrum of intensity we have with synonyms, starting with mad, which is really the most direct equivalent to bonkers. Then we step down a bit into eccentric. This is a much more polite way to describe someone who behaves in strange or unusual ways. It's a gentle mildness. Next up is daft, which is particularly common in British English to describe something silly or foolish. Then we move into inane, a fantastic word used to describe something that completely lacks sense or ideas, usually used for empty talk or silly behavior. And finally, we have deranged. Notice how the tone shifts entirely here. This is a much stronger, much more severe term, implying a serious loss of mental stability. So, depending on the situation, you can choose the exact shade of crazy you need. Finally, Section 5, Idioms and Expressions. Colorful alternatives to bonkers. English speakers love using colorful imagery. Off one's rocker implies that someone is acting irrationally. Or how about up the wall? Like, this situation is driving me up the wall. We use that when you're driven crazy or become very annoyed. Out of one's mind is used for behavior that is clearly irrational or even dangerous. Then we have barking mad, which acts as a brilliant informal intensifier to suggest someone is completely or uncontrollably crazy. And finally, have a screw loose, which is a highly colorful, kind of mechanical way to suggest that someone's reasoning is faulty or strange. You really have to smile at the absurdity of these phrases. They act as informal intensifiers that instantly bring your speech to life. So the crucial takeaway today is that language is a toolkit, and you've just added a brilliantly versatile word to your collection. But I want to leave you with this final provocative question. What is a situation in your life right now that is completely bonkers? Seriously, think about it. Cement your new knowledge by immediately applying this word to your own life. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep practicing, keep expanding that vocabulary, and as always, stay curious.